Hi there and welcome to the next episode in my Citroen Relay van build series. In this video I'm going to be installing something called Sumosprings. So the reason why I'm investigating these Sumosprings is because the last 2 or 3 times we've been away in the van, the rear axle seems to be behaving itself swimmingly, because of course I've got double leaf heavy duty leaf springs on there and the air suspension, and if you watched my previous videos you will have seen the installation of both of those things. But the front is a different matter altogether, because I've upplated my van because it's a little bit on the heavy side. You know, there is a fair bit of weight rolling around, and I'm getting a bit of body roll at the front of the van. So I decided, well, you know, let's see if we can sort that out. You know, one option of course was to replace the springs and the shock absorbers with some more heavy duty stuff, but that seemed quite expensive and a bit of a faff to do. So I saw these Sumosprings and I thought, well, let's give it a go and see whether that works. It's a more economical thing to try in the first instance. So what I'm experiencing when I talk about body roll at the front is just driving around town and driving on A roads at a relatively sedate pace. It's absolutely fine, it's behaving itself. But when I notice it most is when you're sort of bombing along at 65-70 miles an hour, and let's say you've got to a motorway interchange and you've got those sort of long sweeping bends between two motorways where they join together, and as you're going around there at speed, you know, the front end seems to sort of dig in and you think, oh blimey, I want to slow down here a bit because you know, I'm listing badly to the side. So that's what I want to try and address, all being well, hopefully, with these Sumosprings. Right, so here they are. So they're made by a company called Sumosprings, but they're actually the product is actually Sumosprings. And what you get in the box here is some instruction blurb, a nice sticker for your van if you're into that sort of thing, and 2 of these coils. If I can get one out one-handed. There we go. So the idea there is that just wraps around the spring either side at the front. You'll see there's 2 in there, 1 for each side. Now I ordered these direct from the United States on Amazon, and was just a few pennies over £200, including the import fees and VAT and all the other extras on top of the cost of the actual spring. So the whole total bill delivered to my door was just a touch, literally a few pennies over 200. There is a supplier in the UK that you can buy these from, one dedicated supplier, but by the time you've added the delivery cost onto the advertised rate, you're up very close to £250. So you know, just shy of £50 saving by actually doing that on Amazon direct from the United States. And there they are, look, they've turned up, no problem at all. Tools I think I'm going to need for this, obviously this is subject to change as we get through it, but breaker bar and bits and bobs to get the wheel off, some zip ties to tie the coil on, some snips to get rid of the excess on the zip tie, a flat bladed screwdriver to maybe help tease it into place if I need to, some good old rubber gloves so my hands don't get covered in crap, and a tape measure. Now you're thinking, what do you want a tape measure for? Well, actually this is the first job. I'm just out of curiosity before I oh, and also of course a jack and an axle stand, because I don't think you need to take the wheel off, but I'm going to, because it seems that's going to be much easier to do that. So just out of curiosity, although I do have a decent gap here, you know, it's not like the van is sat right down on top of the tyre. I'm curious as to whether this is actually going to gain me any ride height or not. I'm not particularly interested in whether it does or not. It doesn't bother me. All I'm after is to stop that slight body roll when you go around these long sweeping bends, and if I achieve that, then I'm quite happy, you know. but there's no reason not to measure this and see, is there? So what I'm going to do, I don't know whether you can see that, is this line on the tyre here seems a good mark to use, because the tyre is recessed from the edge here slightly, so it's slightly more difficult to take a measurement there. So what I'm going to do is from there, should we do this in inches or centimetres? No, let's make it hard work for our American friends and do it in centimetres. So at the moment I've got 12 centimetres to that line from the top there. So after I fitted these, let's see if that's still 12 or whether that's improved any at all. Right, okay, so let's take you in a bit closer, and cool, look at the rust on there where it hasn't been anywhere for a few days. But anyway, not to worry, that's normal, isn't it? Right, so the bit I actually need to access is what's right up in here. So in actual fact, I suppose you could have accessed that across the top of the wheel here without taking the wheel off, but you know, it only takes a minute, doesn't it? And I think that's going to be a lot easier with that out of the way than trying to do that with the wheel there. Right, first job it says is to remove the grease and the dust and the rubbish and everything from this spring. So let's crack on with that first of all with a good old wishy-washy. Okay, so it says to wash it, which I've done, and to clean it with some soapy water to help get the spring on. So I've just left the soapy bubbles on there, as you can see, from the washing process. And it then goes on to say that on the actual Sumo spring itself there is a deep groove and a shallow groove. Let's see if I can show you that by just opening that up. Yeah, I think you can just about see that, can't you? So there's a deep groove and a not so deep groove. The deep groove apparently goes at the bottom, and you just kind of try and get it started and then work it on. And up in that little hole in there, that looks like that's going to be a complete bitch, doesn't it? But anyway, we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. One extra piece of equipment I've got, I think, which might come in handy, is a tin of the good old faithful. So what I'm going to do is, just because this is, you know, lubricant after all, isn't it? I'm just going to spray in these grooves with a bit of the old WD-40, I think, because that might help that slide on a bit better with a bit of luck. Right, so just working that in. Right, okay, let's see how we get on then. So which is the bottom one there. Oh Christ. I've laughingly see some people say, oh, this is a 10-minute job. Yeah. We all know about those famous 10 minutes, don't we? Right, let me fight with this. Oh, actually, to be fair, that didn't go too badly at all. Look, he's on there. Right, okay. So now to get the zip ties in. I'm going to clean my hands, I think, because I'm all a bit greased up now. Right, so zip tie wise, although it might be difficult to see on the camera there, all the way around there are these little holes. So the idea is you can get a zip tie through there, and then just zip tie it onto the spring to stop it coming off. That's the idea. So let's see if we can get these on any sense. Which I'd imagine is easier said than done. That's number one done. Actually, that went surprisingly well, much better than I thought. So definitely top tip is get these zip ties, you know, located through the holes first before you put that together, and then starting at the bottom here, just kind of started offering it in, and actually that with the palm of your hand, that actually just kind of pushed into place quite well, and then you just work your way around, push it into place, and then it just works its way up the spring. Right, okay, so I got the wheel back on, and it's now down off of its jack, and if I put my hand up in there, yeah, you can feel the sumo spring in there, and it's now compressed into in between those springs, definitely, which is obviously what we want. Let's see if I can get it those zip ties once more, just for. Oh no, now it's compressed down, you can't twist it at all, it's well and truly where it is. So you want to position it before you put the weight back on it. But it's nicely sat between the springs, I can feel the springs in there. And the all important question is, have we gained anything? Let's have a look. Let's bring you across a smidge. And now here I have I got 13.5, so I've actually gained 1.5 centimeters ride height there by installing that. So I'm going to crack on and do the other side. I won't bother to film that because, you know, one side's the same as the other, isn't it? But I'll do that, and then I'll go out for a test drive and see if that's made any difference. So I got the other side done, and actually putting those zip ties in first definitely made that job a lot easier to do, and the WD-40 around it definitely seems to get that to slip in sort of nicely as well, you know, ignoring the doodle entendre there. And definitely taking the wheel off seems to help and just make that job a lot easier as well. So it all went fairly well. I've been out for a test drive, and I have to say, so far so good. I've only just had a little potter around the town, but definitely going around the corners there seems to be some more stability on the front end, which is all good. After a proper, you know, decent drive up to you know, up to the other side of the country or something will be the true test, but they're all coming up over the coming weeks. So yeah, happy with that. So remember to like and subscribe, blah 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 blah, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.